All right, guys, let's do this. What up? It's JoJo on the radio. This is the iHeartRadio Countdown. Tate McRae, it is so good to see you. How are you, Tate?
I'm good. It's been forever.
When's the last time I saw you? We've done a couple of Zooms.
Yeah, probably like Jingle Ball was like last time I saw you.
That is.
Yeah.
Have you been you look super tan? Have you been like at the beach or
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've been gone like just writing music for like 10 months. So it's been like a second.
Later on, I got to hear about the there's something about people writing in Sweden. Sweden has a thing to it, right?
Yeah, I just came back from Sweden.
That's exactly. Well, don't tell me yet. We're getting all this stuff, you guys. Tate, I think you said this. You're working on a new era for your sound.
Yes.
Explain what does that all mean?
I mean, I'm freshly 20. I just turned 20 in July.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, so much changes from when I first started doing this, I was 16. So I mean, like the difference between like 16 and 20, I feel like you change so much as a person. Like you were one of my first interviews. I was like,
was that really?
I was like 17 years old.
Whoa.
And I just feel like a totally different person. Therefore, I'm gonna write totally different music now. So it's just like so many things have happened in my life. I've gone through so many relationships and things that I feel like I just have a lot more to talk about.
Now, do you think when you're like 16 in this industry, everything was like big and overwhelming to a degree? Maybe, I don't know.
Totally.
And now it's like this is kind of normal-ish to you now, or normal to you now.
In like some ways, and then some ways just like never get old.
Right.
I think every time you walk on stage for the first time, it like never gets old.
What a rush that's got to be.
It's just like a very crazy feeling that you will never like. It always feels like the first time you go on stage.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's got to be something you can't recreate somewhere. That feeling,
No.
I assume an album is I'm told it's in the works.
Yes.
I don't know. There's most of it's probably super top secret, obviously. But what can you say? Is it 80% done, 90% done, 0% done?
I mean, I could say that it's like 80% done, but then tomorrow I could write 6 new songs and it could be 40% done. So I don't know. I feel like right now I'm at a spot where I feel like it's close.
Right.
But then I could get off tour and write music again. So I don't know. I feel like I have the body of it and it feels really good. And I feel like has a storyline and a through line throughout the whole thing. But who knows when it'll be finished. I mean, sometimes you turn in your album and the day before you write like your favorite song. So.
That's what it always happens. I've talked to so many artists, like, I guess the deadline, there's always a deadline, I guess, Yeah. You have to turn it in on Tuesday at midnight. I'm just making it up. I don't know if you would ever turn it in on midnight. I don't know.
It's like that, though.
It is, okay. But Tuesday at like 8 p.m., the greatest thing hits. And then do you have to fight to push, like, okay, put it on the album or push the date back, or it's just a big old...
Totally. I mean, dates get pushed so much because, even the mixing process, like there's greedy. I mean, it has like so many mixing and so many like production notes, and it just takes forever. Like it just your mind is always picking everything apart, and then at the end, before you release the album, all the pressure's off. So that's sometimes when you write like the most like exciting stories, because they're like you don't have anything left to really like. There's no pressure to like do anything like really important. So sometimes it takes off the stress of it, and you write really good stuff.
Oh man, I can't. Well, is there a date? Don't say it. Don't say a date. If you said a date, it's going to change. Okay. Or is there a date? Don't answer that.
No,
I'm sorry.
There's not.
What is the weirdest place you've been asked for a photo?
Ooh.
I just love these stories. Crazy fan encounters. I just can't get enough. Not that your fans are crazy. They're beautiful, but.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think. I feel like I always get asked the worst times. I always look my worst.
Just like when you're looking like you're
when I'm looking like straight trash. That's always when I get asked for photos. I think one time I was like hanging out with my grandpa and we were getting breakfast and they asked for a picture of me and they asked for an autograph from my grandpa.
So grandpa, they wanted one from him?
They asked for like an autograph from him and me. And he was like, "What's going on?" Like it was just really funny. Just because he's like 85.
Did he sign the autograph? And
of course. He was like, thought he was going to like steal his signature or something.
He's a rock star. Go ahead, Grandpa. Tate, you kind of alluded to this, but I think I read that you get super anxious when releasing new music. Now, maybe that was when you were 16 and not now. I don't know. But what's going through your head now as all this stuff is about to come out and coming out?
I mean, I think it's just because, I'm a private person. So like it takes a lot for me to share like personal information about me, even like my best friends. And then my music is just like my diary. So I feel like I go from like 0 to 100 when I'm releasing a song.
Does it make you feel like, if you're such a private person, which obviously, you are.
Yeah.
But to put this stuff out, is there like a kind of a inner struggle? Like, do I say this?
Of course. I mean, and then it's up to other people to see how they want to look at it, how they want to look at me. And I'm being brutally honest every single time, regardless if that's like, I talk about some of my biggest flaws in my music sometimes, and my biggest insecurities as a person that you wouldn't walk up to someone and say, "Hey, I'm Tate, and this is what I'm," these are my worst traits. Like, but I talk about it in my songs, and I think you got to just let people digest with that, and just now it's in their hands, and it's not in my hands. But it's scary.
I've never thought of it like that. You're at a Starbucks, and you walk up to a stranger. Hey, what's your name? Matt. Hi, Matt. I'm terrible at blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just thought you should know that.
Just thought I should tell you.
I like a half calf, double half calf, half latte. Okay, anyway, do you love road life? That's my question.
Okay. Road life has a lot of pros and cons. Sleeping in the bunk is like the best sleep you'll ever get in your entire life.
Because the car's kind of moving.
Yeah, you're moving, you're with people. I don't know why I like being around people. But it's like so pitch black in there. You get the best sleeps and you wake up in just like a new city at like 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. and you're like, oh my God, I'm in like San Francisco. But then also you feel like you're in a bubble, like disconnected from the rest of the world. So it's like really trippy because you're like on tour and you're doing the same thing every night and you're with the same people. It can get like a little
like Groundhog Day-ish.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh my God, I haven't texted my friends from home in like 3 months, and I feel like a totally different person.
I forget what artist I was talking to, but they said they had some app where you could I guess it just because you're in a bunk and it's dark and the app would just show what it looks like outside right now because you think it's daytime and it's night. I mean, it's probably a dumb app. I don't know what it was, but like for some reason they felt it made them feel better to have this app that showed daylight.
It would help.
Or whatever it is.
There's like no windows in your bunk. I mean, you can't really see much. So yeah, that'd be great. You should give me that app.
Yeah, let me work on that. True or false? This is another thing I read about you. I've been reading up on you.
Perfect.
You said you are the worst at titling things. This might be an old quote.
Yeah.
But are you still? Matter of fact, it is an old quote. But are you better at titling things? And like how I'm like, for example, Greedy, which we're going to play in a couple of seconds. Are you happy with the title Greedy?
Yeah, I mean that is like probably my shortest title. Like I feel like I try to make them really long for some reason. Like You Broke Me First, or like She's All I Want to Be. Like just like the most unmemorable names you can possibly think of. Like no one can ever remember the titles of my names. They're just like, oh, this one, like, and I'll like hum it. But I just find it hard because I'm like, how can you like title it in like one word? I don't know. I want it to be exciting. I feel like it never really sums up a song. And when I used to do YouTube, I used to just name them like I wrote a song ... and then like I feel like it's up to your interpretation.
What do you think the worst title you've ever given something? Like it can't be You Broke Me First. We can laugh about that. The song was huge, so it worked.
Sometimes when people are like, oh, what's one of your songs? I'm like, oh, You Broke Me First. They're like, such a depressing title. Like I'm like, I've really set myself up for failure. Like I'll read my set list like when I'm on tour and I'm like, it's like Hate Myself, She's All I Want to Be, You Broke Me First, Friends Will Look at Friends That Way. I'm like, this is really concerning.
Like I need a drink. Oh my God. Well, whatever, Tate, it's working. So keep doing your crazy titling or whatever. Yeah. Greedy.
Yes.
God, what a track.
Thank you.
What do people give me any kind of backstory, all that fun stuff? The question you get asked 1,000 times, what's it about? But yeah, give me all that good stuff.
Well, this song is really exciting because I've never done something like this before. Like the beat is so sick, and I feel like as a dancer, like makes me feel like a totally different way. But also, I feel like a lot of my people who listen to my music have always seen me in like a very specific light, like I'm very honest and sad girl and whatever. And then I feel like there's a whole nother side of me as a person that people just like have no idea about. Because my personality is like very different from like what I write.
Right.
And this one kind of feels like it's like the feistier, sassier side of me that, I feel like it kind of describes this scenario of like going out, and it's kind of stemmed from like anger of just like people assuming things about you and like assuming like, oh, why can't I get to know you, and why are you so closed off? And I think it's just like it's such as like an empowering song, being like, yeah, I would want myself. Like it takes time to like get to know me and actually open up to people, and I think it'll be a really fun one for people to listen to and dance to.
I bet this would be a good one to do live, obviously.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We all know the great performances you've done. I get those. I want to hear what is the worst gig you've ever done? Something went straight to hell.
Oh my gosh.
Give me the worst of the worst. I mean, it was just awful.
Oh my gosh.
Great questions, huh?
I have sometimes really bad luck with like acoustic sets. Don't know why, but there's literally been scenarios that me and my guitar player Zach, this is hilarious. We've been through like hell and back with some of these acoustic sets. One time, okay, so we're literally like on this stage. I think we're in like Boston or something. It's freezing cold out. I don't know why we're doing an outside set. There's like all these like balls, like blown up balls in the pool, and it's so windy. So all these like contestants come in to like watch. They're like sitting down. All of a sudden, this massive gust of wind is happening. Like literally, you can't even hear me because the mic is like just wind. All these balls like fly out of the pool. They're like flying everywhere. All the radio people are like freaking out. They're like, "What's going on?" And then this huge sign that like has my name and like whatever, it, like falls on a girl, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like, we literally were like, "Oh my god!" Like, oh my god. Pause. This is insane. How is this wind this strong that a huge sign is being like thrown over? And so we had to like move her. She was like right beside the stage. I felt so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor girl. But it was just a total, like it was insane.
Now let me just confirm, winter, freezing cold, they do have buildings in Boston with heat, right?
Right.
Why couldn't you do it inside?
We could have totally done it indoor, but they were thinking it was like a summer fest in the middle of like October.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm like, this is insane.
What is your favorite, and of all the tracks you've written, whether for yourself or another artist or what have you, what is your favorite lyric that you have ever written?
That I've ever written?
That you have ever written. Came out of your brain, into your phone or paper or whatever.
Oh my gosh. There's this one. This is so...
It could be from the upcoming album. Just don't leak title.
This is such a cliche. I can't even give you the lyric.
Oh, God.
Because it's from my upcoming album.
Okay.
But I think it's one of the smartest lyrics I've ever written. And it's on one of the tracks. I don't know which track yet. I'm giving you nothing.
Okay.
But it really feels like I was like, oh, that's a good lyric. Like that. I don't feel like I get very impressed by my own songwriting just because, I mean, I'm always going to be like my worst critic. But I'm like, this is a good lyric.
Okay, so you can't say what it is, obviously, unreleased track. But will we know how will we know which one you're talking about?
It's, I'll say it's one of like the weirdest titles on the album.
So weird title.
You'll see and you'll be like, oh, that's an interesting one. I wonder what this is going to be about. And I think it's like, it's a sad song, and I think it's a really smart title. Okay,
and is the title the lyric you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. God, now I'm so curious. Tate, you know this about me. You brought it up when you walked in. I am obsessed with the paranormal.
Yes.
Ghost, haunted houses, UFOs. I've got a podcast called Paranormal-ish. We've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. Would you consider upcoming tour?
Yeah. Would
you consider for your friend JoJo?
Yeah.
One of the staying in a haunted hotel room. I'll just cut to it.
Absolutely not.
Tate,
oh my God, JoJo!
You could report on what happens, and we could find the room, because some of these hotels you're staying in are beautiful, but there's a haunted room. We could find the one for you.
I would absolutely cry. I'm so sensitive to paranormal things. I pick up everything. I'm the biggest sleepwalker ever.
Oh my God, that's right.
I'm walking around my room. Oh my God. Lately, I've been hallucinating massive spiders in my room, and I'll throw stuff at them. I'll wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm like throwing all the stuff at them. I'm screaming, and I run to my kitchen, grab a knife, and I wake up with a knife and like literally in my PJs in my hallway in my apartment, being like, "Oh my God!"
What?
And I still believe there's like a massive spider. Anyway, I asked someone, and apparently it's called an astral spider, and it's like when an evil spirit is in your life. And they're like sucking your energy from you. You start to hallucinate astral spiders. So you have to like get rid of negative energy in your life to like get rid of these astral spiders. And it happens to me so much, and it's so scary.
I've talked to a lot of people with some crazy stories. I've never heard that term, astral spiders.
I don't even know this is real.
What?
I could be totally like making this up, but based on Google, it's super real. And yeah, it's so scary. I don't know why. But that's why I literally can't stay in a hotel that's haunted, because my body will like freak out. Like I do weird stuff. I literally become possessed, my friends say, whenever I sleep over.
Which makes you the best candidate for this. But okay, we'll scratch that off the list.
Scratch it.
Okay, have you got rid of the spider yet or no?
This was like last week that it happened again.
Oh my God. All right. I want to hear more of the story if you care to share.
Yeah.
Like next time I see you. All
Perfect.
Right. Tate, we talked earlier about Sweden. There's something about Sweden. I don't know who you worked with in Sweden.
Yeah.
but I've known so many people that have gone to Sweden, whether it's working with Max or whoever.
Yeah.
What is it about Sweden and the producers, and why Sweden? It seems like it's not just you. There's something to it.
Sweden's like just like the best place for pop music. I mean, like Ilya, Savin, Max Martin are some of like the greatest songwriters of all time. Like some of my favorite songs ever are written by them. And yeah, they just really know how to make pop records. And so I went there for like a week, and it's so interesting to learn. I mean, it's like also mathematical for them how to songwrite. So it's like all like, you could look at it on a graph and every pop song like looks the same.
Huh.
Which is just so interesting. It's just such a strategy. And it's really cool. I mean, I was so inspired, and they're just very big inspirations to me.
Who'd you work with over there?
Max, Savin, and Ilya.
I was talking to, I'm friends with the Backstreet Boys, right? And they work with Max forever.
Yeah.
And that I Want It That Way, I think that song doesn't make grammatical sense.
No.
But they did another version of it that made grammatical sense.
Yeah.
And it was awful.
Yeah.
So they went with this, other version.
Yeah.
Which that's, the product of Sweden making music sense, I guess.
It's interesting because they basically just like figure out like what sounds the best coming out of your mouth, not like what makes the most sense. So that like you'll just like a sound, and you're like, that literally isn't a word, and they're like, oh, but it sounds really good.
And you're like, okay.
And it sounds great.
Well, okay. One of these days I want to witness this in person.
You have
this whole
to.
Thing. What song or album just changed your life? For me as a kid, it's a no-brainer for me. It's Thriller, Michael Jackson.
Wow.
Changed me.
Okay.
I mean, so same. Yeah. What did that for you?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question.
Yeah. Maybe it's several.
I have so many. I mean, I feel like, okay, I feel like Teenage Dream by Katy Perry was like a big cultural reset.
I love
for
Katy.
me.
She's awesome.
Honestly, this was like one of the best pop songs of all time is Teenage Dream by Katy Perry. But then, okay, sound palette in this song I will literally never hate, ever, 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 is The Beach by The Neighborhood.
Oh, whoa.
Literally, I don't know what this song like transcends me, and I will never get sick of it. And I always like on every song record that I'm doing, I'll always reference that and be like, make the sound like this, because I just love it so much, and it's just a really great song.
Have you ever met the Katy Perry or The Neighborhood?
I have actually, not Katy Perry, but I've met The Neighborhood.
Did you tell them about like your obsession with their track?
No, I got nervous.
One of these days.
One of these days,
maybe a collab at some point or a perform. Who knows? All right, just putting that out into the universe. Message to your fans. new fans, old fans. What do you want to say to them?
Just that I love you, and I'm very grateful that you guys listen to my music and you like it, and you've been here for so long. It just means the world to me, and I'm just so excited to be back on tour and seeing your faces again. What's
your reaction to all this success you've had so far, and still a lot of things you want to do? I get it. But you've had some really cool experiences.
Thank you.
What's your take as you kind of look back on everything so far?
It feels very surreal. I mean, just like I feel like I've dreamed of this stuff like my whole life. So just to be on certain stages and dance and sing together, I think a lot of it happens and you don't even realize it happens because you're like, this feels fake. Like, and people like,
wow, yeah,
people listening to your music and screaming it back to you, like it all feels very fake to me, and I get imposter syndrome all the time where I'm like, this can't be real. Like I can't actually be here. But then like when you actually like look back, you're like, oh my God, that was a whirlwind. But it's, just this whole world is very crazy, and I just feel very lucky to be in this position and to be able to do what I do.
That's got to be a weird feeling when you're in, especially another country where maybe perhaps like English not their first language.
Yeah.
And these people, strangers.
Oh my gosh.
Spitting your lyrics that you wrote in your, bedroom, garage, whatever, back at you.
Oh, I mean, like,
what the?
We went to Australia last year on tour, and that's like my biggest market for some reason is Australia.
They love you in Australia?
And it was the wildest thing ever because I was expecting to walk in there and just be, a nobody because I'm like, I've never really been here. And it was like the most insane, like they're like 40,000 people at this festival, and like I've never heard such a loud crowd before. Like I like got like you get like chills on stage and you're like, this is so weird. Like I can't believe like my album cut song. Like that's just like
Whoa.
Really crazy that you guys are that loud for a song like that. It's just very cool.
That's super cool, man. For real. Quick recap, Tate. Greedy, it is out. Jump on this track. New album coming, we don't know when.
Very soon.
Top secret. Tour and in the middle of running all over the place, What else do people need to know about Tate McRae? Tate McRae?
Just lots of experimental and exciting things coming. I feel like I'm stepping into like a new phase of my life and phase of music. So I think people should expect like a change a little bit. So it'll be a little shocking and exciting.
Shocking's good though. Mm-hmm. Shock them up. Tate, thanks for dropping in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. At the end of every interview, fist bump to make it official. Give me a little, bye.
Hell yeah.